It's time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing, episode number 56. Today is December 18th, 2011. That means that there are, 6 days left to shop for Christmas? And if you're a guy, that means that you've got 5 days to procrastinate until the last day before you can
there you
shop
go.
for Christmas.
I'm not done yet, so.
Oh no, I've just begun. My name, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv. Of course, you can find all of the information you need to know about us at Untether at untether.tv or at Untether or at Rob Woodbridge on the Twitterverse. And with me as always,
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association, and you can find us at the LBMA or at thelbma.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at Asif R. Khan. So there you go.
And, of course, now you can find you weekly at streetfightmag.com doing a weekly article for these guys on this very thing, location-based marketing. How is that going?
It's going well. I mean, and great thing those guys have. Streetfightmag.com. Fantastic source of knowledge if you're in this space. I mean. We need more good resources like this, and so I'm happy to be contributing. So every Tuesday there's a column over there that I'm doing now under the banner On Location, and then on Fridays this very podcast is also available there as well. So
I love this kind of relationship, and it's well worth it. They have a great daily email newsletter. If you can go and sign up, just go to streetfightmag.com. And of course, you'll see Asif's article there if you happen to be there on Tuesday. Usually right up in the morning and very, very insightful. And you can I retweet everything that comes out of there. Anyways, it's very worthwhile.
Yeah, no, they're great.
So big show. The last one before Christmas. We want to talk. Actually, second last one. We are actually going to get an episode up on Boxing Day, but we're going to pre-record a little bit earlier. We're not going to miss an episode, so it's going to be a normal episode on the 26th of December, and then for January 2nd, we're going to do a retrospect, a look back at the biggest stories that we think in the location-based marketing happened in 2011, and then Asif and I are going to get into it. We're going to talk about predictions about what is to happen in 2012 in this space. We won't go past 2012. We're going to go 2012 only. We're going to take a look and see what's going on. So hopefully you guys can tune in for that as well as you're either lazing back after your big Christmas dinner on the 26th or completely hungover listening to us on the 2nd of January. By the way, if you have a hangover on the 2nd of January, that was a good night on New Year's Eve. And this episode, of course, we got 5 great stories coming at you. They include some good companies, big companies like DMTI, PayPal, NBC even, and KLM. We're going to move into a bunch of our product of the week this week, which is Local Mind. And we're going to talk about 4 funding stories and a great resource on email marketing as a location-based marketing assistant. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. I don't know, where do you want to start? DMTI? First story?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so DMTI, great company based right here in Canada where Rob and I are, and they've got a product called LocationHub, and LocationHub is a platform basically for data, that helps you make intelligent decisions. If you're a business, a brand, where should I open that next, restaurant? Where should I, locate my business, things like that are the kinds of things that you go to a DMTI for. And so LocationHub is a product they announced earlier in the year, or right at the beginning of the year, I believe, last year or this past year. So they've released an update to this, and so LocationHub 2.1. And effectively, some new functionality around post office box data. Actually getting some interesting, ability to locate stuff in rural areas as well. About 2 million civic addresses have been added to the system. So a lot of really rich data available here, and geocoded addresses. And so again, this is the kind of data that if you're trying to make real business decisions, intelligent business decisions around, you need this kind of data. And so obviously DMTI or the postal services, or there's some other companies out there like ESRI and others that are in this space, but no one's really doing it in a SaaS, software as a service based model like DMTI's LocationHub. So
Yeah, I love how you classify these guys as if you're doing like a real business in this is the company that you go after their data. If you're looking for a restaurant or a gym or a theater, that's where you use the Foursquare data, right?
Yeah. Well,
oh, sorry.
Yeah. Turn the knife. Okay, so. Yeah, you're right. I mean, to some extent, Rob, I'll agree with that. I think it's from a business planning perspective, this is hardcore, business planning information here.
Like insurance claims and those kind of things. Like, this is big.
Yeah, this is the big stuff. But I'll say, it's important for all of these companies, DMTI and others, to be looking at how they integrate, some of the other newer, less rigorous. Call it less rigorous data, alongside this other stuff, and kind of start to combine some of those resources together. So, Factual, for example, we're not talking about them today in any detail, but they just announced this week a whole restaurant data set added to their database.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine, the combinations of some of those datas coming together. So, anyways,
this is the race for data, though. That's what we're in right now. It's all about the data. Well, DMTI releases their LocationHub, and it's cool. So and they're Canadian. So go to dmtispatial.com and you'll find out all about that. Second story, which is I think a much more significant story around the space that we're in, is certainly PayPal diving in to the mobile coupon business. And some people are saying that this is a direct competition to Groupon or Living Social, but there's a few twists here that make me think maybe not. Let's first talk about this.
Yeah, so you gotta. I mean, this is something that I've certainly fully expected. I mentioned, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that I think that and this will be in my predictions as well. So a little. Advance notice of what's coming up. But, for me, eBay is going to be, the company of the year in 2012 in this space. So there you go. And, I have many more things to say on the prediction show, but
don't give them all up here. Nobody's going to listen.
This is just one example of where we're going. And this is by no means the full extent of why, which I'll go into in more detail. But effectively, what we're talking about here is, PayPal has 103 million users. Okay, 103 million users. Sorry, how many does Foursquare have? Yeah. Okay.
Not even 20 yet.
Yeah, 103 million users. So, it was just a matter of time. They've been acquiring companies. The Where functionality is being plugged in here to deliver local deals and local content. And what they're talking about here is partnering with big brands, Best Buy, Target, guys who are already using PayPal, for various transactions, and they're talking about, delivering, unique deals to unique users. Okay, right. So this isn't, here's one deal, for everybody. This is, we know that you're a Best Buy customer, you bought stuff using PayPal from Best Buy before. Here's an offer from Best Buy, over our system. So it's very, very targeted to the users based on a lot of history, and not everybody gets the same offer.
But and this is all mobile based, which is the best part of this. Which is there's no web equivalent to this now. But is this it's not a group buying thing. It's just a coupon.
It's just a coupon.
Yeah. So it's a location based, a location aware couponing system from PayPal, and they already have the relationships with a lot of these merchants. But everybody thinks of PayPal as an online payment processing company, but they have made incredible strides into the the terrestrial life as well, and at point of sale, and have great relationships with an insane number of merchants already.
Yeah, and that's the key here. The key is these 200 merchants that they already have, major merchants. They already have relationships with on the online side, and now they're extending that into mobile. We talked last week about Klarna over in in Stockholm. Those guys aren't in the mobile space. They're in the online processing piece, the piece that PayPal has locked up over here in North America. And they're trying to take cut into the pie over in Europe and maybe coming across the pond as well. It's probably a matter of time before they're also in the mobile space. But this is a purely mobile play. It's a coupon play. It's to big merchants that are already very familiar and working with PayPal, and 103 million consumers.
Yeah, I know, it's incredible.
Right?
I sat down. In fact, it'll be up this week. And if you're watching this after the new year, it's already up there. I sat down with Nick McElveen, who is he's actually the director of carrier partnerships for PayPal. And I think that this plays very heavily. We talked about this in the UK with O2, and was it who was offering free smoothies? Now it escapes me. But when you start to add this layer of location-based couponing with carrier relations and carrier billing and facilitated by PayPal, this makes sense. So we're going to talk about this, I'm sure, on the January 2nd episode on what's coming in. But this is. Do you think that who should be threatened by this? Do you think, Asif?
Well, I mean, I do think it will affect Groupon and Living Social to some extent. You know, at least as probably more so Living Social than Groupon, from the perspective of, you know, they've got a little more of a history of working with some big brands, the bigger merchant chains than Groupon does. So I expect some impact there. You know, but I also think you're going to see. You know, you're going to see some interesting things, you know, from other players as well. You know, we talked about Pandora recently doing deals with major merchants. We've, you know, the whole location-based ad network play will be affected by this in some respects. You know, and the conference I was at this past week, ILM West, the guys from AT&T Interactive were there talking about their local ad network and deals that they were pushing out. I mean, there's a lot of players in this space.
Everybody's doing this now.
Sure.
Like my Fox News is doing their own little Groupon coupon, location-based couponing thing, and and we've got like 40 of them up in Canada as well. So
it's crazy. So I mean, another thing, I was at another event in San Francisco on Wednesday evening, and the San Francisco Chronicle or SF.com or whatever they're called was there. They've got their own deal service going, right? Just in San Francisco. I mean, it's
staggering. It's staggering. And you know what? I think that this is one of those things that it's a mega trend that's happening right underneath our nose. That the price of everything that we pay for today will never be full price. When you see that, it'll be a fiction. It'll be only in textbooks when you see MSRP, right? Because what we're doing is we're influencing pricing, and this is impacting the economy. But that's a bigger mega trend that we've got going on here. So PayPal enters the mobile couponing market. The unique piece for me, obviously, is the fact that this is a mobile-only play, and I'm interested to see. I'm a big fan of PayPal and eBay and what they're doing and trying to reinvent themselves. And I think that, as you said, we're going to talk more about this on the prediction show for 2012 because this could be their year. Third story. TelNav getting into the mobile browser GPS HTML game, and this is, I think that this has a it's a unique thing. It's a niche thing. It's a great little play for these guys to get into it. But what makes this so unique?
Well, I mean, the key here is you know, you're first of all, you're talking about a company with rich in history, TelNav, you know, and lots of experience. So it's not like they're trying to, you know, enter a market that they don't understand. Second is you know, the uniqueness of this is what we're talking about is the ability to push location-based directions, navigation, content without the use of an app. And so this is completely through the browser using HTML5. You know, turn-by-turn directions. You know, the same stuff that you always had from TelNav. You know, in the form of, you know, physical device or, you know, or an app. Now you're getting it through the browser. Yeah. And this is huge because if you're a retailer, if you're an online merchant like some of these guys we were just talking about, and you have physical locations, and you know, people are browsing online and they're looking for pricing and they're looking for stuff, you can put up a button that says click here for, you know, turn-by-turn directions right from your website.
That's what I love.
You know, pretty amazing, and it's apparently very, very simple from a developer's perspective. It's just like a line of code that they generate and you just drop it into your site. I mean, it's that simple.
I like this a lot. I like this. So you've got two actions now: click to call and click to get here. Click for turn by turn, and you know, I think that the key thing though is that you're not being taken away from your website. You know, you're not going to a Google map or you're not launching a new app. It's embedded right in there, and I think that that's one of the things that are pretty neat, and it's a pretty great showcase for HTML5, really, quite frankly.
Yeah.
No updates, no downloads, all that kind of stuff is neat, but this is the fact that you can bring it right into your website like this, pretty cool.
and full functionality. I mean, they're talking about full color, moving maps, audio directions. You know, everything that you would have normally.
I didn't see that audio directions. Now that
audio directions, even so, you know, all through that through the mobile browser.
Yeah,
or any browser for that matter. Sorry.
Does it ever? I mean, I know there are other services that are offering this kind of thing, and Google Maps is obviously one of the biggest ones that are doing this. But I love the competition. I love the this is a race to free, isn't it? It's like this is like Navigon and these big companies like this, including TelNav. Their business has been so disrupted by the handset market. The fact that I can get GPS on a device now, and I'm not spending $400 on an external device or $5,000 getting it built into my car. This is one of those things. It's a race to free right now for this.
It's there, but there will be an ad model, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. This is you know, everybody's going to be moving into that space because it's the only way that they can save this this directional or direction getting applications. TelNav, at least they're innovating. I like that HTML5 GPS. I like the fact that you know, because the announcement that Google came out with a while back about charging for their API use or API calls over a certain level. I think that now this is great because you've got Apple building their own mapping software for iOS, and you've got TelNav building this. That I think that's good for competition. We shouldn't just be all under Google. That's what I say.
Yeah.
All right, fourth story. NBC and Foursquare getting together to try to figure out. I guess this is much like an exit poll, or this is a determination of what the election or the 2012 campaign is going to be. I think this is really where mobile can play a huge part when it comes to influence and also you know, exit polls and advanced polling for the election, for the 2012 elections. This is neat.
Right. It's very neat. So they basically announced a new site called NBCpolitics.com, which will be kind of the hub for all election coverage for the 2012 election that's coming up. And really, what this is about, you know, tracking check-ins. You know, as candidates move about into different states, you know, and they're going out doing their various pitches and speeches and everything that they're doing throughout the election. It's also NBC journalists will be checking in and logging where they're going as well. So, you know, it's not just the candidates; it's the actual journalism team as well. And so, kind of like, you know, the mapping of all that data and seeing where people are going and kind of traffic patterns, I think will be really interesting. You know, new data that you know, we didn't have access to before. I mean, it just wasn't there, right? So, you know, just understanding where these people are going and factoring that into the stories, you know, as they're bringing the news to us, I think becomes, you know, a new way to experience politics in some respects. And this isn't new. Yeah, it's not new for Foursquare. I mean, Foursquare's had a relationship with NBC before. I mean, they've talked about it on the Today Show and some other you know, NBC programs. But I think this is an interesting marriage between you know, politics and you know, and Foursquare data in this particular case.
You know, didn't the Globe and Mail here in Canada do something like this for our federal election a couple of years ago or last year, where they had you checked in
a program called, well, a little bit different. It was actually not by the Globe and Mail. It was by a bunch of guys who worked for the National Post.
Oh, whoops.
And not you know, officially National Post, but two guys that I know of anyways kind of did this on their own. It was a project called GeoPolster.
Yeah, that's right. We featured
more of a gaming element to it. Think location-based game. So effectively, you know, as you went to different places doing your regular business, if you were on Foursquare, you could associate your Foursquare profile to GeoPolster, and, you know, as you went into a place, you basically said, I'm supporting this particular party. You know, and effectively the building itself, you know, was manifested as, you know, liberal or conservative or NDP in the case of Canadian politics. Yeah. And then, you know, control of the building would change, you know, party affiliations based on, you know, Foursquare check-ins. Yeah. Anyhow.
But you know what? I think that the next time around for these kind of things, and what I'm hoping in the 2012 elections, campaigns in the States, is that you start to get that kind of grassroots, visceral feeling around these the elections and these parties, because in Canada it was subdued, but it was very interesting to see that. It was like basically a street fight, you know, building to building around who owned what and what party owned what building. And I think that's a new gaming mechanism that's a little bit more advanced than what's going on in politics. Politics hasn't changed. And using these technologies might actually benefit, might actually engage, because in Canada, with our right to vote, when we get 50 or 52% of the population voting, that's an atrocity, right? So what you hope to do is be able to bring more people in. It's unfortunate you have to game it when you're talking about, you know, who's ruling the country.
For demographics, you know, into the mix, right? You know, and engages people. Anyways.
Well, so that's neat. So NBC and Foursquare, you know, and I think that this, you know, we talk about this, and it's going to be in our summary of the year as well. It's about, you know, what does Foursquare's future look like? I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about this, because I think we talked about it, saying the beginning of the year, if Foursquare doesn't hit 20 million users by the end of this year, are they a business? Are they growing? And can they actually succeed in 2012? Maybe this partnership with NBC brings them to the common person. But again, it's I think it kind of it shows that they're not just a check-in platform. They're splintering, and they're trying to. I think they're trying to be too much to everybody. But that's for the other story. NBC partners with Foursquare for the 2012 campaigns. Very cool. Last story. I don't know that we can really say what we feel about this story, but we'll try to do it without offending anybody. But KLM is talking about social seat sharing. This is kind of profiling based on your social, I guess your social demographics or your social, you know, participation, and you trying to choose a seat next to somebody based on that.
Yeah, so they call this social seating. This is something that is not yet available. They're gonna, they plan on, you know, releasing this early in the new year. Effectively, what happens is when you book a flight on KLM, you basically connect your profile to your Facebook and LinkedIn profiles. This is optional, by the way. And then you know, people you know, who are booking after you can kind of look at it and say, hey, you know, I see Rob sitting over here. Let me check him out on LinkedIn. You know, he looks kind of interesting. Maybe I want to sit beside Rob and have a chat with him on the plane.
So creepy,
you know,
man. It's so creepy.
So it's creepy, but it's sort of, for me, it's interesting. Like, I mean, I could see value in this, but I also see a lot of risk in this for KLM. And you know, but I applaud them for at least being you know, innovative and trying new things. You know, is this something that you know, they're going to charge an additional fee for potentially? Maybe. Who knows? But you know, and they're not the first, by the way. They're the first to announce a service in this. You know, Virgin's been on record saying, Virgin Atlantic's been on record saying that you know, enabling people to hook up, you know, more from a dating perspective. You know, as Virgin would be inclined to do, I'm sure, you know, during a flight. But
wasn't Virgin the first to have beds, full-on beds, and bunking berths? And
like that. But you know, knowing who's on a plane, you know, I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, there might be easier ways to do it, you know, kind of more passively. You know, in terms of, you know, like I've talked about many times on the show, you know, about the idea of when I go to an event, for example, and I check in, you know, if you could just encourage people to check in, you know, on the plane, if that was possible.
Yeah.
And then based on check-ins, you could see who else is on the plane, you know, from connections to LinkedIn profiles. You know, that might be a different way to do it in a less obtrusive way, let's just say. Overt way.
Yeah.
But
again, just like sonar.
I really think this is innovative thinking. I do think this is innovative thinking, and you know, I applaud KLM for, you know, taking some risk.
Well, they are. I mean, I think that they're probably putting this out there, and all the other airlines who are thinking about this, who have thought about this, thinking, okay, we're just going to see how this lands with KLM. Good on you, KLM. Great airline,
remember,
but
I mean, KLM, you know, to their credit, these guys try new things all the time. I've talked on this show about their Spreading Happiness campaign and how great I thought that was. You know, so here's more innovation.
Interesting innovation. I just wonder. So if they're going to try to make some money off of this, maybe, and as you said, by anybody who's socially profiled, can put their profile in there, and if I want to know who's here that I can maybe manipulate in order to be able to sit down next to, it would be interesting. And then there's no guarantee, obviously. But so if they charge for that, but I want to know. Listen, if I'm somebody who's of relevance on this flight, a celebrity of some sort, I want to know, can I then just put fix a price? So if you're going to charge that person, extra dollars to sit next to me, I want to charge you many more dollars so that you can let that person sit next to me. Can we turn this into a little bit of a profit taking for the passengers?
There you go.
I think this is I'll reserve judgment on this because there's a hot potato around racial profiling when it comes to airplanes and airlines and the do not fly list, and now I'm wondering, what does the social profiling have, and is there anybody that's going to put up their hand and say, this is profiling regardless, and it's like,
or you could just create profiles,
Yeah, exactly. I'm this guy, international man of mystery. But I wonder, it's like,
didn't you see me in that latest Bollywood movie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I wonder, in all seriousness, is that, and this is serious because it's a scar from when I was a child, on a school bus, and nobody ever wanted to sit next to me, and I was the last guy in the back of the bus, and everybody else was socializing in front. Is that what this is going to be? It's like, oh, you're not wanted. You're the guy that sits next to the toilet in the back of the bus, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen anymore. I'm pretty popular, now. But back in the day, I was the last guy on the bus with nobody sitting next to me. I'd hate for that to happen again. It would just bring back so many bad memories for some people. Not me, of course, but some. So we'll see. This is an experiment. We'll see how this goes. Any idea when they're launching this?
No, it just said early in the new year.
All right.
So,
and I wonder what the seat behind that person would be worth. I'm thinking like there's got to be now a new layer, a third layer of seat pricing because of this, right?
Right.
Like next to you is worth this much, but behind the guy is maybe worth still a lot more. But anyway, KLM, social seating. Interesting. Lots to discuss there, but not enough time.
Yeah.
5 stories. DMTI with their LocationHub, PayPal entering the mobile coupon space, TelNav with their browser-based, HTML5-based GPS, offering NBC partnering with Foursquare in the 2012 campaigns, and KLM's social seating. All great stories. Thank you, Steve, for bringing those to us. And there you go. Top 5 stories. That was pretty quick, I suppose.
Yeah.
We sat down, or you sat down, with Local Mind co-founder Lenny Rachitsky from his office in San Francisco earlier this week, and we got a chance to go back and forth. I like Lenny. I've interviewed his partner Bo for Untether.tv. Great little company, don't you think?
I love them, and Lenny speaks for himself. So let's get right into it and let people hear what Lenny had to say. So
here's a CEF with Lenny Rachitsky, who is the co-founder of Local Mind.
It's time for the product of the week, and this week it's a fabulous privilege of mine to welcome Lenny Rachitsky to the show. Lenny is one of the founders of Local Mind. Welcome, Lenny.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, glad we could have you on. And as we do on this, we just kind of want to hear a little bit more from the founder themselves about what is Local Mind. So maybe just take a minute, Lenny, and just tell us a little bit about the business, what you guys are all about, and what you're trying to do.
Sure. So the way I like to describe Local Mind is it's basically omniscience in your pocket. We give you this ability to know anything you want to know about a place right now. And we do that by connecting you to people that are at that place right now, or experts about that place. It could be a specific venue, it could be a park, could be a general area, like, say, Soma in San Francisco. And we give you that information by connecting you to people that know a lot about that area or people that are there right now. Something that we are really focused on is not just giving you raw data, not just giving you the content. We're actually trying to connect you to actual people that know the stuff, that can help you with specific problems that you have, specific questions that you have about that location, about that restaurant, about that bar, whatever.
Right. So experts at your fingertips through your mobile device, and right. In the context of people who are there now, basically what you're talking about is, if there's a restaurant I'm thinking of going to tonight, and I'm on my way there, I want to know, is it busy? Is there seats available? Is it, what's the situation? And obviously there's people who are there right then and there, and they can give you that data.
Exactly, and it's amazing that no one has done something like this before. We have information about where people are. We know where they've been. We can connect to them because they've got phones with them. And what we're doing is basically bridging that gap between someone that has information about a place and someone that needs that information. And we're focused on real-time information, not just post a question somewhere, hope somebody answers. We're actually pinging people in real time, people that we think are most likely to give you that really good answer. Pinging them, they answer, and you get your answer quickly.
Right. And so like you and I have talked before, it's kind of like having that hotel concierge desk, you know, right at your fingertips, and except that it's everywhere and all over the place.
Exactly. It's exactly the way we look at it. And yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So that's great. I mean, you know, gives our audience a sense of what you guys are all about. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the recent move? I mean, you guys were based in Canada, in Montreal, and you've recently relocated to San Francisco. What has that meant for your business, and what's happening?
Yeah, so we have an unusual story. We launched the company in Montreal. My co-founder and I, there's three of us. We're not Canadian. Our third member is Canadian. We were lucky to have met him while we were in Montreal. We started the company in December, moved up there to started with an incubator program called Year One Labs. And so we started there. We launched in March at South by Southwest in Austin, raised some money in July, August, and then we moved to San Francisco. And the philosophy there was, we know that San Francisco is kind of the heart of technology right now. We needed a really good reason not to move to San Francisco, especially because we were Americans already. It wasn't really a problem for us. So the time in Montreal was pretty incredible. It was the experience we had there was, there's such a great community around startups, and there's so much emphasis being put into creating a community around startups. There's great investors, there's great people running events, there's a lot of interesting startups there. And so being there was hugely beneficial to us because people really liked what we were doing, and they were really trying hard to help us succeed. If we were to say launch in San Francisco initially, there's 1,000 new startups a day. Everyone's trying to focus on their own startup. There's a lot going on, but there's also a lot more competition and a lot more noise. And so launching in a city like Montreal that's ramping up their ecosystem and their community and their support network, it's really exciting to be a part of that as it's getting started. And it worked really well for us. And so one nice thing out of that is we stay connected to the Canadian community. We get a lot of support from like the C100. And there's these events like 48 Hours in the Valley. There's a bunch of little programs for Canadian startups and companies that started in Canada that we benefit from. So it's been really good. And now we're in San Francisco, based in SOMA, which is pretty insane. We're basically where every startup in San Francisco seems to be based, and the benefits there are pretty great. Someone emails you that they're interested in your product, they want to understand more, they want to partner with you. Investors, they're all here. And you just grab some coffee and you're there. You don't have to fly. You don't have to schedule months out. Right. You just do it.
Right. Awesome. Well, an amazing story. And so just lastly now, tell us a little bit about kind of, what's next for LocalMind. Where are you going? How do you see the product evolving? And do you see, competitors coming into the market potentially?
So from the beginning, we've had this vision of starting with get information about a place right now. Very synchronous, very point-specific. What's happening in a place right now? Let's talk to somebody that's there. And somebody that needs information about a place is the one asking. What we've been doing is slowly moving towards bigger areas, not just a specific point, more towards neighborhoods and broader areas. And also towards not just only synchronous communication, but also just giving advice by people that are not actually at a place. So we've had this plan of let's start small, let's start focused, let's start at one point, real-time information, and slowly progress out larger areas, recommendations, and advice, and a broader set of people that aren't actually there right now, but people that actually know a lot about that place. And so we have a big release coming out in a month or two that kind of moves us closer to that direction. We're really excited about it. We're going to be making a pretty big splash with it, and so we're all head down working on that right now, which is why we haven't done a lot in terms of press or speaking or blogging.
Might we see this at South by Southwest?
You should be, yes. That's
all right.
Simple answer.
Fantastic. Well, we've been talking with Lenny Ryczynski of LocalMind, and we just thank you for joining us on This Week in Location-Based Marketing, and of course look forward to having you on again. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
Yeah. Cheers.
And that's Lenny. What can we say about that company and Lenny? I like LocalMind. Montreal based to begin with, and then moving back to the Valley. I know that Lenny's from San Diego, right? I don't know if I said that or not, but
yeah,
up. He spent a winter in Montreal, which is crazy to me. And,
Couldn't take it.
Nope. And then fled back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Wow. I like.
Anyhow, no, great little company. Doing some pretty phenomenal innovation. In terms of helping people find answers to the questions that are just burning on their minds based on wherever they are. So, anyways, great little company, Local Mind, and I'm sure we'll be hearing lots more from them.
Yes. So am I. That's our product of the week, Local Mind. Go to localmind.com or just download the application and start contributing, start answering questions, and look for their update coming in the new year. Their massive update. All right, let's talk about, let's move on to the funding news, because there's a lot of news here. There's 4 items, and I think that we're going to start to see this rolling this next couple of weeks before New Year's to get the deals in before. They might trickle into the new year, but the first one was a pretty big one, and interesting play. TaskRabbit closing about $18 million.
Yeah, I mean, this is a company that we've heard lots about. There's been a lot of buzz about TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit is a company that's I'll say a competitor maybe to Zarly in many respects. So this is all about creating tasks for people to do, jobs for people to do based on where they are, location. So I live here and. I need somebody to cut my grass, or I need somebody to do this, or who's around me from a geo perspective that can complete that task. And Zarly does something similar. So I mean, Zarly's raised a lot of money, and TaskRabbit is a company that's, I would say, their closest competitor, and has to keep pace. So I mean, this makes sense. This is $18 million. You've got Eisner involved in this, and I also see, in addition to the money, this is a battle of, high-profile boards, it seems, in some respects. You've got the Shasta Ventures guys, in TaskRabbit. You've got Eisner now involved in TaskRabbit. Over at Zarly, you've got Meg Whitman just joined their board. They've got, I think Ashton Kutcher is over there as well. That's how they started. So, I mean, this is high profile people. Big money, big companies with big people.
Well, totally, and this is like I'm name dropping here, but it's not. It was just a good week for Untether, because I sat down with Eric Koester, who is the co-founder and the chief marketing officer for Zarly, and this interview will be up on this coming Thursday. And what a great story. Yeah, just from beginning to end. TaskRabbit's been around for a little bit longer than these guys, and he differentiates in the interview between the two of them, and it's very clear what they do. There's a little bit of overlap, but the story about how they were founded, it's incredible. And so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, which you should be, they got involvement from Ashton Kutcher. They were involved obviously with Meg Ryan. They just closed a massive round with Kleiner, around the same amount as these guys did, but it's as TaskRabbit did, but it's just this space is heating up. I'm interested to see how this goes, and a Gigwalk is another company like this. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of these coming up, and I like this type of company, kind of the the guys who are finding spare time and making money out of spare time. I like that. I don't know what it is, or selling things, selling services, whatever it is. I think that this is going to have. Sounds ridiculous, but these kind of companies are going to have an impact on the underemployed or the unemployed going into 2012, and maybe it's these kind of companies that are going to help bolster up the U.S. economy. That's not a prediction.
No.
And don't take that to the bank. I don't endorse.
Anyways, yeah. So TaskRabbit, $18 million.
That's great. Now the second company is aptly named PartyEarth, which is probably I think maybe one of the best names. PartyEarth.
PartyEarth.
They've raised about $4 million.
Yeah. So this is City Guides. Can I say Goala? No.
No.
We're not supposed to talk about them anymore.
Goala's gone. Goala's gone. We're talking Facebook now. But you know what? Oddly enough, I think that I don't know if we talked about it. That they said that Goala, the final purchase price was $3 million. That's what I've heard.
Okay. Yeah, I heard it was something really, really low. So
$3 million. That's 30 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So PartyEarth could have bought Goala
with their new 4 million.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what PartyEarth
so
is
this
city
is a
guy.
company that's it's about logging cities, photos, about those places, videos. They currently have 19 cities that they track: London, Amsterdam, New York, major cities. Enabling consumers to basically discover those places, learn more about them, plan parties, figure out what's going on in those cities, share your mood. Remember we talked about our good friends over at Weather Mob the other days. So in addition to saying how you feel about the weather, you can share your mood about other things over at PartyEarth. Anyhow, yeah. So enough said. $4 million.
It's good. PartyEarth. I think it's PartyEarth.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go and check them out. I don't have much to say on that other than for the weather guys. I'm pretty pissed because it's cold out. All right. You know what? I think that the next story is interesting. The next funding is $1 million to a company called Belly, and these guys are working at bellycard.com. They got $1 million, but what's interesting about it's a small amount, but what's interesting about it is who put the money in.
Yeah. I actually am sorry, Rob. Apologize. I'm going to go a little scatterbrain here on you for 1 second. When I was looking into this PartyEarth thing, the one thing that jumped out at me, and I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to verify this, but the CEO of PartyEarth is a guy named Sam Altman, and I'm wondering if it's the same Sam Altman from Looped. I have to go cross-reference that, but Sam Altman was the founder of Looped, which we haven't heard from for a while. And that might be the case over at PartyEarth now.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But anyways, let's talk about Belly while we're digging into that little tidbit.
Sure, you talk. I'll look.
Yeah. Okay. So Belly is an interesting company in a couple of ways. Number one, $1 million coming from Lightbank, and the most interesting thing about this is Lightbank is the fund that was started by the co-founders of Groupon, and so effectively, I guess you could describe Belly as a hedge bet for the founders of Groupon. They didn't take their $6 billion from Google, and they did their IPO, and the stock's in the tank, and so let's hedge our bets over here, through Belly. And so Belly is a completely different model. They're trying to compete with Level Up and some of the folks that are focused more on the loyalty angle of this whole deal retail merchant space. And so effectively it's a physical card. It's a Belly card, it's called, and it replaces the traditional kind of punch card, buy 10 get one free kind of thing. Yeah. And exactly that, focus on the loyalty. And it's a iPhone app or Android app, lets you earn points, redeem rewards. So it's a complete loyalty play, a non-Groupon-like thing, but funded by the two guys, who started Groupon. So there you go.
I think they have to do this because they realize what a travesty Groupon has become, and that business is not a long-term business. It's good that they're spreading out the money. It's just that they could have probably put $100 or $200 million into this company had they exited at $6 billion from Google.
Yeah.
But this is not a unique company at all. There's a dozen of these or 24 of these, and I don't think that they're going to win. I think that the companies that are going to win along these on the loyalty side are at point of sale. The guys who already own those relationships, the credit card companies, the carriers. I think those guys are going to be owning this area, and companies like Belly will either get bought, or look at eBay. eBay might look at these guys and say that's what we need. But get bought or disappear.
Groupon can acquire Belly in about a year.
Yeah, that's exactly
right.
It.
Yeah, for about $300 million or something.
Yeah, how would that work?
And the two founders have just basically pocketed another little bit of cash. So there you go. Anyways,
so
let's not talk.
Yeah, so bellycard.com if you're interested in that stuff. Buy 10 get one free. Not unique, not innovative, and certainly not special in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. Wah. It's a waste of $1 million. But then again, these are the guys that turned down $6 billion. So,
yeah,
smart guys. PlaceIQ raising 4.2. I like these guys.
Yeah, I like these guys too. So the interesting thing about this is 4.2 million U.S. ventures, Valhalla Partners are in on this deal, as well as the existing guys. They basically have moved the company from Colorado, which is where they were based and started and founded, to New York. So this is great. I mean, they're kind of embracing the whole New York culture, and this is a hyper-local ad targeting platform. And they look at the world, PlaceIQ does, and they kind of break the world into 100 million tiles, is what they call them, and then gather data about those 100 million tiles, and basically set that up as a targeting unit from an advertising perspective. So, interesting model. I think they're adding a lot of value in terms of targeting data. In some respects, they play in the world of what used to be our friends over at Simple Geo and some of those other areas. Yeah. I mean, 4.2 million bucks, and now based in New York.
I tell you, it's all about this is a data gold mine. What's happening in all these companies, and when a company gets bought, it's either going to be for talent or it's going to be for the data that they've collected, and because that's where the value is. The services that you wrap around the data, are only as good as the data that you got. And I like what these guys are doing, but they have to scale. All of these companies have to scale to a point where their data is as valuable as somebody like DMTI. Right?
Without question. And the one thing I will say is, in a lot of cases with these companies, with any startups in these spaces, you need that lead person, that personality that can drive it forward. And I can say I've met Duncan McCall, who is one of the guys behind PlaceIQ, and these guys are doing great things. Yeah. So he's a knowledgeable, intelligent guy. So I expect big things from these guys.
Well, that's it. 4.2 million from PlaceIQ, TaskRabbit closing 17.8, PartyEarth raising 4 million, and Groupon, or the founders putting $1 million into Belly. I couldn't find out if it's the same guy, but we'll come back.
Neither could I on my quick search, but the name similarity is intriguing there.
Yeah. So 5 big stories, 1 big product, 4 big funding stories. Last thing that we got to talk about is the resource of the week, which is Marketing Sherpa, which is a great website at marketingsherpa.com. They have an article up there, 6 location-based email marketing tactics, and this is, why did you choose this one? This is done by, if I can find the author, Jerry Dubé at marketingsherpa.com. Why was this your choice?
Because I go to a lot of conferences, and when you look at location conferences that are out there, it spans the gambit from pure play mobile couponing deal type stuff to the heavy data stuff like DMTI we were talking about, to GIS, to augmented reality, and there's so many parts of this ecosystem. But one of the parts that we don't talk about enough is email marketing and social media and how those things and location all fit together. And I think email marketing is a very effective tool still, for a lot of brands, a lot of retailers, and increasingly, we can easily interject location kind of thinking, check in data and other pieces through widgets and other tools that are readily available from some of the major platforms into what we're doing in email marketing. And so I found this a very useful, very simple and useful article to just go through for some basic kind of steps that you can be doing if you do email marketing.
Well, I think that marketing is the most mobile, or email is the most mobile of channels, and I think for a long time people lost their way around how to communicate with people, and through their mobile devices, and email has always been the thing. Maybe text messaging is kind of fitting in now, but text messaging is a two-way discussion. Email still very valuable, and I love the points that they brought up here, and we'll include the link, but just go do a search of Marketing Sherpa for location-based email marketing, and it'll come up, and the tactics are very, very relevant and very important, because mobile is still, or email is still the reason why many of us carry these devices, right?
For sure, and you know, just a quick little mention of a good buddy of mine. So Adam Steenberg, who we've talked about on the show a number of times, who was one of the founders of PlacePunch,
yep.
And since acquired by Silverpop, is quoted in this piece as well. So
nice.
You know, glad to see those guys continuing to evolve, and Silverpop obviously a major player in the email marketing space.
Well, that's very cool. So marketingsherpa.com, do a search for location-based email marketing, and you'll be able to find that article by Jerry Dubé. Sorry, Jerry, if I've gotten your name wrong. Let me know. That's it.
That's
5
it.
big stories, 4 funding big stories. Local Mind is the product of the week, and Marketing Sherpa as the resource of the week. And we are done. Episode number 56.
All right.
I don't think we have anything else, unless we want to.
No.
Nope. So I gotta keep reminding everybody, you guys, there are many ways for you who are listening or watching this right now to interact with us, and certainly to get this program. First of all, you can subscribe to the RSS feed at untether.tv. You can subscribe to the RSS feed at thelbmay.com. You can actually now check us out at streetfightmag.com on every Friday. Spread the word. You can also subscribe through iTunes. To an audio and a video feed. You can choose which one you want to do. We'd appreciate it if you did. These episodes usually get up probably a half a day to a day beforehand through iTunes than they do on the websites. So if you really want an advanced copy ready for your drive in on Monday morning, that's the easiest and the best way to do it. I would strongly urge you to do that. You can sign up for both of our mailing lists at thelbmay.com or on tether.tv. You'll get immediate notification the moment that it goes up and active. From Untether, we do a daily email. But many ways to get this into your inbox, and we really appreciate if you if you participate with us in that way as well and help spread. We love seeing the retweets and people helping us spread this out to as many people as possible. Especially in the industry, it's very important that we actually foster this community around location-based marketing. It's nascent and it's growing, and we need to all participate in this to make it worthwhile. So do all those things, whatever you want to do. And if you have any feedback or any suggestions or comments, or you are a company that wants to be featured as our product of the week, reach out, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbmay.com, and we will get you on the show. We'll get you on the show and give you a little bit of profile for the company that you're starting or you want us to profile.
For sure, and just thanks to everybody who did send emails and comments this week. We love getting them, and the feedback's been great. So keep it coming.
Yeah, and definitely, and a little call out to Cliff Stevens, who is also from Locadot, who sent me a bunch of questions around what I think is the perfect marketing mix for Pandora. I will respond to you individually, Cliff, so that we can carry on that dialogue. Thanks, man. I really appreciate the email. All right, that's it. Episode number 56 in the bag. We'll be back next week for episode number 57, and then look forward on January 2nd to our best of and prediction show for going into 2012. We really appreciate you guys watching and listening wherever you are. Thanks, Asif.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Cheers.